what do you got for us this week, man?
You know, a lot of times when I have conversations with my boys and whatever, we'll bring up a movie, and more often than not, you'll hear, "Oh, I used to hate that movie, but I watched it again, like I liked it now or whatever." So I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
like I thought it'd be cool to spotlight that and everybody to talk about like a movie you hated or loved, and then you've completely changed. I have a couple I was going to mention, and then I'd love to hear if everybody's got a movie, that you changed your mind on. The first of my three, it's boring, but it's the truth. The original Friday the 13th, it was bottom 5 on my list for a long time. I thought it was boring or slow or bad. But to be honest, I would never revisit the first one. I'd start with Final Chapter and then watch 5, And I'll be honest with you, when I started watching Italian movies and stuff like that, and I really started to appreciate movies that you have to just let, set a tone in the room and stuff like that, an atmosphere. That's when I started to see the original in a different light. Now it's top 5 easy. It's top 5 easy for me.
Mhm.
And I love the first Friday the 13th. Quite frankly, like I said, it's probably one of the best ones. If people tell me it's the best one, I'm not going to argue it. So I really love the first Friday the 13th now. You know what I mean? Like, it's the second one. When I went to the theater with my wife to watch this, I was just like, "Oh, that was okay." But then every time I rewatch it, it's one of those movies I'm like, Jesus Christ, Evil Dead 2013. When I watch that, every time I watch it, I'm like, damn it, that is good. To hell with Bruce Campbell. I don't need him. That was good. But when I first saw the movie, I was like, where the hell is Bruce? Blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, Christian, stop. Just stop. Your back's against the wall already. What are you doing? You didn't even give yourself a chance to enjoy this movie, which I think is a problem that a lot of us sometimes have in terms of going to see a movie, if it's a remake or something like that. God knows that 1.5 million people probably went to go see Dawn of the Dead 04, like, and then they might have walked out like, God damn it, that was badass, because I know a lot of people love that remake. I'm one of them. So Evil Dead was another movie. I love it. And every time I watch 2013, I'm like, God damn, that is good. And from childhood, I hated Gremlins 2. I hated it because I love the first one so much. And I love Joe Dante. George Romero is my favorite director. Joe Dante is my second favorite. And the older I would get, I would finally, like, I would never watch Gremlins 2. I would listen to Joe Dante talk about making the movie, and it makes sense to me now. How the hell are you going to top it? Let's have fun. Why are we taking this seriously to begin with? So he completely just has a blast with Gremlins 2. And you've got horror legends in it too as well. Now I love Gremlins 2. I love it. It's probably one of my favorite Joe Dante films, So it's funny how perception has a lot to do with this stuff. When you watch a movie, how you watch a movie, there's a lot of things that factor into it, I think. But it's interesting how we can change our minds on films that, you are, back against the wall at one point, like, I hate it, blah, blah, blah. But then you're like, well, I say I hate this movie. When's the last time I watched it? Let me check this out again. What do I hate about it? You try to explain to yourself why you hate it. You don't really know, so sometimes it's smart and fun to go back and revisit a movie you might hate to see why. So, Gremlins 2 is a movie as a kid, I didn't dig it because I loved the first one so much. I just wanted Gizmo in that house with the family and all that. Now I love Gremlins 2. I love it because it makes total sense to me now. Why are we taking this seriously? Let's have fun. So those are some movies that I completely changed my mind on, and now I love them. And there are other movies that I probably liked more as a kid, but I think are just garbage now. Like when I was telling this last time, when I was a kid, Mortal Kombat Annihilation was a dead serious film. I was like 6. That movie was serious as a heart attack to me because that was my reality. You know what I mean? But now it's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I read somewhere that the CGI in that movie wasn't even the real finished CGI. It was just templates used for a screening, and nobody really complained. So they just said, let's put it out. Screw it.
Oh,
So, there's movies that you hate when you get older and you say, God, when I was a kid, I was the most gullible little bastard out there. So yeah, I just think it's interesting how you could change your mind on movies. So those are some that I have completely changed my mind on. So there we go.
Anybody? I'd actually like to add a movie I just found on Amazon Prime the other day that I hated as a child. No Holds Barred with Hulk Hogan. I hated that. I don't care if I was a child. My cousins all loved it. I hated it, and I was just like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. And I watched it on Amazon Prime like a month ago, and I had too much fun. I was just enjoying myself. I'm like, this movie's despicable. It's misogynistic. It's gross. It's filthy. It's a really filthy, nasty movie. But it's fun. It's just so great. I mean, to see Hulk Hogan clothesline this dude on the car, and he's not really clothesline. It's like the guy ran into his arm and made himself fall. I was like, this is trash. And then like Zeus grabs this lady and throws her on top of the table. I'm like, this is horrible, but it's great at the same time. That movie is just too much fun. I love it. Nah, dude.
Brother.
Doo-doo, or whatever the line is. It's horrible.
I've got 3. Ghostbusters 2. I walked out of the theater absolutely disappointed in that film compared to the first one. It just seemed like, to me, it was like, we're back, but we have nothing to say. That's the way I felt about it. Now, after rewatching it all these years, I actually like it quite a bit. So that's one I've kind of changed on. Alien 3, hated it. Absolutely hated it. Got the quadrilogy, watched the alternate cut. I like it a lot better than I used to. It's still not my favorite.
Welcome to the dark side.
It's not my favorite. Part. And unlike Lorna, I have a lot of love for 2.
We're not going there. We're just not going there.
The first one is still the best, but Aliens is right up there. And 3 has now, risen in ranks for me. And
God bless.
Day of the Dead. After Night and Dawn, I was kind of bored when I first saw it because it's a lack of locations, there's a lack of action, it's a bunch of dialogue and people arguing, and granted the special effects were great, but it just kind of drug. But after several rewatches and 30 some years later, I really enjoy it. I definitely think I really appreciate the performances and I put a lot more. So there'll be 3 for me.
Very nice.
Stone, you were going to chime in?
And that music, that music in Day of the Dead, Mike, completely underrated. That score, money.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's 2 films from 1991 that I saw very recently for the first time in about 25, 30 years. One of them was Dan Aykroyd's Nothing But Trouble, which in many ways is a very demented comedy, but with a few screws, it's a horror film. It's like Texas Chainsaw in like the middle.
It's amazing.
Nowhere. It is amazing. I mean, like the Bone Stripper, and like in the next scene, they just eat everybody that went through the Bone Stripper in the form of hot dogs.
Oh, it's so gross.
Yeah, it's like body horror when he's eating that hot dog. It's
with bread. He just bread
in the mustard.
You got a loaf of bread, Stone. Grab yourself a couple of dogs.
Tupac Shakur and the Digital Underground show up near the end. All around the world, the same song.
Same song.
If you can get into Dan Aykroyd's demented sense of humor, I think Nothing But Trouble will do a little better for you. And the other one was, I didn't care for it at the time, but I saw it for the first time again recently, thanks to Piz's review and somebody else on Twitter. Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead is like a near classic to me now. Especially when I found out that the eldest son follows me on Twitter. Now I feel a little embarrassed that I waited this long to check it out again. But yeah, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. And I don't really have a third, but I will say, Christian, you do know that Bruce Campbell appears at the very end of Evil Dead, right?
Yes. I know. Yeah, I know. But you got to understand, Stone, I did not stay in the theater to watch all the. When the credits roll, this is what I do.
You can't do that, though. That's when you miss it.
Jason is in part 5. Michael Myers is in part 3. And yes, Bruce Campbell is in Evil Dead 2013. Just saying.
It's quite a little cameo too.
Great movie.
Oh,
Great
I bet he got
movie.
paid. I bet he got paid like $1 million for that 2 seconds.
He was a producer on the film. He didn't have a choice.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
I gotta say, R.I.P. to Humpty.
That's right. Shock G.
Yeah. Shock G, man.
Christian will enjoy my. I used to hate it, and now I love it because it's Halloween 3.
Right.
When I was
Hey.
young, I was like, Michael Myers is not a. Even though on the TV, I know, Stone, I got you, but I'm like, it's not Michael Myers. I don't want to see it. I don't understand why. And then I got older, and I'm like, okay, let me watch this. Let me just sit down, remove myself from this, and just watch it. And I'm like, you know what? This movie is really cool. It's totally separate. I wish it was just called Season of the Witch. I mean, but I have no objection to it being Halloween 3 now. But back then I'm like, you know what? If this was just called Season of the Witch, I like this movie. And then through the years, of course, like now it's legendary to me. So there's that one. And my other one is Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Originally, I'm like, why is Freddy possessing? That doesn't make sense. Like, he's already in everybody's dreams. Why is he possessing someone now? And then later on, everybody kept saying, oh, well, it's the gay one, blah, 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 or whatever. It's a metaphor for homosexuality and trying to come out. And then I watched it with those goggles on, and I'm like, this movie is epic. I freaking love it. So those are my two that I absolutely love, because, you know, that you know, when you're looking at it through the perception of, okay, Freddy is Freddy in the dreams, and now he's possessing. And so I'm just going to focus on that, and I'm not going to give the rest of this movie a chance. I was really disappointed in myself. The same with Halloween 3. Like, I feel like I just had blinders on because of stupid surface stuff. And I love both those movies now.
And I want to add, I think that Nightmare on Elm Street 2 has the most terrifying version of Freddy.
It does.
I mean, he's really scary in that. I wish they would go back to that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like they made him funnier over time, and it's like, please rein it back in.
Freddy's dead. Horrible.
One movie that jumped immediately to mind when Christian brought up that topic is Argento's Tenebrae.
Oh yeah.
I now love Argento's Tenebrae, but the first time I saw it,
Right.
and I'd already seen Deep Red and Suspiria, and I'd seen Opera, and I'd seen pretty much all the classics, Argento stuff. And I saw Tenebrae, and I was just like, oh, this is bad. This sucks. I don't like this at all. And then like the twist, and I was just like, no, this isn't for me. And I don't know. I just kept kind of. It was just not one of my favorite Argento movies. And then I rewatched it years later, and I was like, "This is freaking awesome! I love every second of this." So I don't know what was going on. I think how you. So much of how you respond to a movie is your mood at the time. Mm-hmm. Are you focused on the movie at the time? Are you thinking about work? Are you thinking about relationship? Are you thinking about money? Are you thinking about, I think there are so many things that can, cause you to, I don't know, they can take your mind away from the movie. But I don't know, that the second time I watched it, I just freaking loved every second of it. So that one's the one that definitely jumps to mind. Is like, I hated it the first time. And I really hated it because I was just like, this is not my Argento. This is not Deep Red Argento. I don't know what this is. And then of course you get a few years beyond that, you got a whole other Argento at play, and we won't go there, but
yeah. How about that Dracula movie, huh?
Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I know absolutely love Tenebrae.
It's funny you say that, because my example was always going to be like the first time I saw the original Phantasm was a television broadcast, and I was deathly ill. I was a kid, and I was sicker than I'd ever been in my life. And that movie, I don't even remember much of watching that movie, but every time I revisited that movie over the course of most of the 80s, I would have kind of this phantom memory of how I felt, and I disliked the movie intensely because I associated it with that first viewing. So when you say it depends on what's going through your head, also what's going on with you biologically, because I love the original Phantasm. I do prefer the second film, and I know that's not a popular take, but I would say that how you go into a film and how you're feeling does play a huge role. I immediately give any film I see theatrically probably more credit than I should because I love going to the movies. If you have an overly sweet soda that's, a tanker truck soda in that cup holder next to you and some super, super salty popcorn in a tub in front of you, any movie jumps at least a star on the scale, right? Immediately.
Right.
But I have the bigger problem. I don't so much have the problem of like discovering that I like movies that I used to hate. I haven't had that many turnarounds that way. I've had, incremental changes, but I haven't had big jumps. But I do have a policy that if I start disliking a movie more than the last time I watched it, I stop watching that movie. Because I don't want to dislike more movies than I like. So I'd rather leave the memory where it was, crystallize it there. That's fine, and that's my experience. Because movies are all subjective, right? I mean, how you take them is how you take them. So if I could get to the world whereas every movie is at least okay, I'm happy. But for an example, and again, not a popular take, but every time I watched Pulp Fiction, I liked it less. So I stopped watching Pulp Fiction so I could still say I like the movie. Because I don't want to get to the point whereas for whatever reason it doesn't work for me and I say have to fight that fight with people. Yeah. Clearly I watched Aliens way too fucking many times. So I'm not going to let it happen again.
A perfect example of what I was saying earlier. I actually started watching. It was a couple hours before the show started, and I was like, "Oh, let's see, let's find something to watch here." Oh, I've been wanting to watch Jacob's Wife for a while, so I watched Jacob's Wife. So I rent it, and I'm watching it, but I'm not really paying that much attention to it. And I go, "Okay, let me stop. Let me just stop the movie because my mind is elsewhere. I'm looking at my phone. I'm thinking about this, that, and the other. Let me stop it, and I'll come back to it, tomorrow or maybe later tonight, and I can really focus on the movie." And Larry Fessenden as a small town minister, how can that not be good? Barbara Crampton is a Nosferatu style vampire, how can that not be good? So I'll come back to it.
Yeah,
I think what was one I can think of. What the hell was I going to say? One other one I could just think of right offhand. I remember really hating Batman Returns when that came out. Keep in mind I was 10, but I remember hating Batman Returns. I remember just sitting in the theater like, what? Danny DeVito's a penguin and he's in a carriage floating in the sewer, and Christopher Walken has got this hair, and Michelle Pfeiffer, he shot her 10 times, but she's not dead, but she's human. And what? And I hated it. But when I watch Batman Returns now, I can fully appreciate the Tim Burton isms of it and how freaky and weird and not for children it is, because I'm watching it now. I'm like, geez, this is kind of there's a lot of perversion in that movie. And but I will say it's fantastic at what it does, which is being not a sequel to Batman, being its own weird animal people Christmas story is what it is. And I will say, I think Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer's chemistry in that movie is electric. And people can say Anne Hathaway and Christian Bale. I don't think their chemistry was good. I think they're good actors, but in that film, But Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer are two they're demented, sick people in that movie. And it works, man. That scene at the hall where they're dancing.
Yeah.
And she goes, "I'm here for Max," and Michael Keaton goes like, "Look, you're not really here for like Max," and she just cracks up, and it's so it's great. It's great.
Monty, Danny DeVito as a penguin is the only thing he's ever done that's ever made sense to me. He's such a short, stocky little bastard. You know what I mean? He's a penguin.
Hey!
He bites
That's not cool. That's some kind of is right there. Stop it.
What were you saying about gatekeeping, Biz?
Yeah.
I see let's see, Cameron in the chat mentioned Book of Shadows. Who mentioned, somebody mentioned Book of Shadows, I think, before Cameron did. But yeah, that's a movie that I hated the first time I saw it in the theater. Absolutely hated it. And I over the years it's grown on me, and I do like it. I like it a lot now.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
I loved it on day one.
Yeah, me too. I like that movie when I saw it in the theater because how else are you going to approach it? I mean, you're not just going to remake the first one, right? I mean, there's limited ways to approach a sequel on that one, and I thought they did a great job. I liked it.
Yeah, that movie is a perfect criticism of its earlier incarnation. It's something so brave. You say what happens when they made another movie about kids going into the woods and getting lost? We all like turned our nose up because it was obviously pointless. But with Book of Shadows, they did something completely different, and I loved it.
Anybody else? Any other movies? I was going to throw out there the Black Christmas remake, but I've talked about it before. The first remake, yeah. I saw it in the theater.
What? Oh, okay.
I was about to say, wait, what?
I saw it in the theater.
I still hate that one.
I can hear Piz right now. I like 2019 Black Christmas.
I like that one too. I do like that first remake. I saw the
I like it too. Always have.
I saw the new one on HBO the other day.
Oh, do you need help? Do you need help, Monty? Anything I can do for you?
Man, it was
2 hours. You'll never get back. You'll never get those 2 hours back.
Monty, when you're on your deathbed, you're gonna be thinking, I could have had 2 more hours.
Oh my God, man! I lost too much time in my life. My lady's just like, why are we watching this? And I was like, I don't know. I just want to see how this ends. And
what did she think of it?
She just thought it was stupid. She thought the whole thing was stupid. She hated it. She was like, "Can you please cut it off?" And at that point, it was a battle to see just if I could get through it and prove her wrong. You know,
prove her wrong.
I did that. But I
got one, Piz.
It treats the audience like we're all stupid. I mean, I'm sure there are some people that are, but we're not that stupid.
It's I don't even know.
They're catering to the stupid people.
What were we going to say?
I got one, Piz. Okay, in high school, right at the tail end of high school, when I first got into horror big time, I used to try to show people movies and like, dude, check this out with me. I vividly remember pulling out House of Wax 05. Oh, I ain't watching that bull crap with Paris Hilton. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah. And then I was in my head, I was like, God damn, I kind of liked it though. And so for a long time, I just wouldn't watch it because I got made fun of for liking it. And I was like, damn it, I like this movie though. And so I would lie. That ain't that great. I love 2005 House of Wax. Not only that, I challenge anybody to watch that movie and tell me who Paris Hilton is worse than. She's perfectly fine in that movie. And not only that, she's the original girl who's famous for doing nothing, and now she's cool. I love Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
I want her to come back and do more.
Paris Hilton does not get the credit as an actress she deserves. I mean, she's not a great thespian, but I mean, she's good in House of Wax. She's great in Repo the Genetic Opera.
Her best.
Bring back Paris Hilton.
I've never seen her on television, but
you guys
in film.
I have.
Her best acting.
What's that,
her best acting was the character of Paris Hilton. I mean, she has come out now and she said, "Look, I played this up. I did the voice. I did the little." thing or whatever. I mean, because let's be honest, if she wasn't a really good business person, she wouldn't have been able to pull that off, but she made everybody think she was dumb as heck. So like that's pretty, like I'll give her a SAG card for that. I'm just saying.
I wasn't a big fan of that one movie she was in. It was all shot in night vision.
Oh, you nasty son of a gun! That's Piz. That's going to be a bonus feature on the new House of Wax Scream Factory.
Oh no!
I can't.
For this topic, one thing I'd like to throw out there is because I do intend to watch it again very soon. I was talking about it with Jay and Jamie on another stream. I'm probably going to watch I Know Who Killed Me with Lindsay Lohan again because apparently it's gotten a reassessment.
We had that at my theater, Stone, when that came out for it was like 2 days and it was gone.
2 days.
We sold literally like 5 tickets for it. I remember.
I was at the Razzie ceremony in LA when it won 8 Razzies out of the 9 that it was nominated for. I told the press, this is a true story. I told the press at the time, I would rather have a dog fart in my face than see I Know Who Killed Me again. But Perry This recent reassessment is actually making me think maybe I'll give another chance now.
Hey,
You
I
don't
think
have
Frank
my dog.
Mancuso Jr. produced that too.
He did. He did.
Didn't the guy who directed
Mhm.
The Lost direct that also?
What?
The Jack
Well, Chris
Ketchum
Silverstone
adaptation? I think that might have been him. I don't remember.
Huh.
But
Just like this, be sure to subscribe to the Region Free YouTube channel and also check out the Patreon to get exclusive content and become a Regionaire.